Welcome to Rita's Paper Motif. Today I wanted to show you how I make these window pop-up cards. And before we get started, just quickly wanted to introduce myself. I'm Rita with Rita's Paper Motif. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, sharing with you card design and scrapbook page design as well. So just stick with me. I have a lot of samples to share with you. But before we do that, let's go ahead and make our card together. So this is a window pop-up card just to kind of introduce what we're going to do today. Now the feature that you see in the middle of the card is the same feature you're going to see when you open it up. And that's where it gets the name window pop-up card. So what you're going to need in order to make a card like that is you're going to, first of all, need a card base. Now, you can choose any color of cardstock you want. I normally will use white, but today I'm using Pool Party. And this cardstock or this card base needs to be an 11 by 8.5 sheet of cardstock, cut so that the ending measurement will be 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And then you're going to score it down the middle at 4 1/4, which when you fold it is going to give you your card base. Now this is an A2 size card, and it will fit in any medium size envelope. Now to decorate the front of this card, I like to layer my cards, and so I would use a piece of cardstock that is about 1/4 of an inch smaller all around than the base of the card. So this particular card base measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then on top of that, I would also have a piece of designer paper or some sort of decorative paper that would coordinate with the base, with the first layer and then the base of the card. And so you can see that this designer paper, which is found in our celebration catalog, matches both. So that's a good match. So you'll need that, and of course what you choose is totally up to you, just so that they coordinate. You also will need a piece of cardstock that measures 6 1/4 inches by 5.5 that is scored at 2 inches and 4 inches. This is going to become the Z fold inside your window pop-up card. Now again, you can use the same color of cardstock that you used for your card, or you could use white. You could change it up. However, I will normally choose white because I like to write a personal message on the back panel. So you can see that's right here. And for me, it's a little more distinct visually if it's on white. So, you know, it's really up to you. And then also for the hinges, you're going to need a 3 by 1 3/4 piece of white cardstock that matches this cardstock, and you're going to score it 1/2 of 3 inches, which is 1 1/2. So those are the items that you're going to need. You're also going to need your shape die. Now today we're using actually 2 ovals, and I'll share that with you in a bit. So we're using this size of oval, and then we're using just the size smaller. Okay, so let's get started with our card. I'm excited to do that with you. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to adhere this designer paper to my base layer, and I am using black. I always like to use either a color out of the designer paper or a darker color. It just brings out the design, I think. And so we're going to go ahead and put adhesive on the back of this designer paper. Now my adhesive of preference is the Stampin' Seal, and I am very happy using that. Occasionally I need to switch over and use the liquid glue, depends on the project of course. But the liquid glue is not my adhesive of preference, only because with the liquid glue you don't need to use very much, and I always seem to use more than I need, and that shows up. So I'm trying to get this. This is how good this seal is here. Trying to get this paper exactly in the middle here. So we're going to cover up that faux pas, but let's first try to get this. Okay, that's looking good. All right, so then we would go ahead and adhere these two together. And then we will eventually put it on the front, but we need to make that window. So here's where we're going to pull in our oval die. We're going to go ahead and secure it with washi tape. Now, I don't put down the washi tape solid because I don't want to take the chance that it would tear my designer paper. All right, and you're going to run it through your die cutting machine. Now, I have taken the liberty to go ahead and do that just for time's sake. And this is what we have after we run it through the die machine. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and put this front that we've already adhered and cut our opening. We're going to go ahead and put it, just lay it. We're not going to adhere it at this point. We're just going to lay it on our card front. We're going to take that oval die that we used for the decorative part, and we're going to take I like to use the Papermate mechanical pencils. The mark is not super dark, so it's easy to erase, and the erasers are awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and make a line here. And this is going to be putting a line on that base of the card. So then we're going to lift this up because we haven't adhered it. And we're going to take our oval and we're going to line it up with that outline that I've already created with the pencil. And try to get it on there as best we can. And then again, we're going to go ahead and use our washi tape to secure it so that the oval doesn't move. And we're going to run this through our die machine this way, so it makes sure this is open so that it only cuts the oval on the outside of the card. Again, I've taken the liberty to go ahead and do that just for time's sake. And now we have the card base that has that oval cutout, just like the decorative base that we did. Now we can go ahead and adhere our decorative base. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to again use our adhesive. You can use liquid glue if you want. You'll need to let it dry. And when you use it on the inside, you need to let it dry before you move from step to step. And while I'm adhering this to the front of the card, I just quickly did want to ask you if you would like to subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I upload new material, then please hit that bell icon so that so YouTube can notify you when I've uploaded some new content. Okay. So we did go ahead and adhere that to our card, and now we're going to work on the inside. Now, we talked about having that 6 1/4, excuse me, by the 5 1/2, and then scoring at 2 4 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and fold on those score lines. Now, this is thicker white, so I want to be very careful. There we go. Looking for those score lines. We'll use our bone folder to reinforce them. And then finding the other score line, securing that score line. And so here we have what we call a Z-fold. You can see why they call it a Z-fold. Now this Z-fold is going to fit inside of our card. So we're going to make sure that it's secure just like this one is. And that is going to be this panel right here. Now when I fold it down, you can see that this panel is a little wider, and that is exactly how we want it. So before we go ahead and work on adhering it, here's what I like to do. I like to go ahead and stamp my sentiment, because if at this point, for any reason, I don't like how my sentiment ended up on my panel here, I can just start over with the panel rather than ruining a whole Z-fold, or card I should say, with a Z-fold. All right, so I am going to stamp this on the back of some scrap paper just to make sure. Now see, I could tell that it's a little, I'm going to be mindful that it's a little crooked here. So let's go ahead and get some more ink on it. And we're going to get that right in the middle and stamp. Okay, and then we're going to clean off our stamp. I like to do that right away so I don't even have to think about it again. And the reason that we clean those stamps off is because the next time you stamp, you don't want residual ink coming to play with your intended ink. All right, so we're going to pull that card base that we have, that we've already adhered the oval to, and we're going to secure our Z-fold onto that. Now I'm going to take some tear and tape, and I just folded it, it's easier to work with. I'm going to take some tear and tape, and I'm going to use that to secure this Z-fold. Again, you could use glue if you wanted to. You will need to let it dry before you move on to too many steps beyond this. Now this tear and tape is, I love this tear and tape. I wouldn't use it just when I can use my seal, stamp and seal. But what's great about this tear and tape is it's a double-sided tape, and it has a sticky side on one side, and then it has this release paper on the top side. Now the one thing is, this is very good for creating boxes or doing what we're doing today, because it's strong and it's easy to use and it's not messy, so that's good. So let's go ahead and we're going to remove this release paper as well. Now how many of you like to use the tear and tape? Go ahead and put that in the comment section. I'm missing this. There we go. Okay. It is kind of hard to see that tear and tape on white, I'll say that. All right, we're going to take this, the inside of this card, and or this Z-fold. We're going to take this Z-fold and we're going to put it on the inside of the card. Now we need to match up this edge of the Z-fold with this edge of the card. So you can see that I've turned the card sideways, I've opened it up, and now I have the right hand side. And I do apologize for that noise. It sounds like a neighbor is taking a ride on his motorbike. All right, let's go here. Lining it up. And once you've lined it up and you're happy with its placement, go ahead and secure it down. Now you'll have something like this for your card. So we're not finished yet, so let's go ahead and lay this down. While we're putting it to the side for a moment, let's get that piece of paper that we talked about before that was 3 by 1.5 inches, and it's scored in the middle at 1.5. So we're going to go ahead and get that out, and we're going to fold it in half at the fold mark. Okay, and then we're going to get that tear and tape again, and with that tear and tape, we're going to put the tear and tape across each side. I like to put 3 strips on each side, and that's just a personal thing. You probably could get away with 2, but I really do like this card, and I want it to stand up to some wear and tear there. So one side is done. Let's go ahead and flip it over and do the other side. So while I'm doing this, I just wanted to share with you, if you head on over to ritaspapermotif.com, you can find tutorials on many different cards. That would be in the blog section. And also on the very home page, down at the bottom, you'll find the option to subscribe to my newsletter. Now in that newsletter, it comes out about every week, and I offer tutorials on projects that I don't share on any other platform. All right, so we're going to take this hinge, and we're going to go ahead and cut it in half. Now you could have cut it in half before, but for me, it's easier to put the tear and tape on one big section than to have to fuss with a bunch of small. So I'm going to go ahead and take off that release paper. And I'm only doing it on one side of the fold for now. We'll get to the other part in a minute. We're going to take the inside of that Z fold that we have, and we're going to fold it all the way back so it looks like this. And we're going to take that sticky side, and we're going to adhere it right here in the corner. So I'm trying to get that fold as flush with the edge of the white cardstock here. And to get it straight, that's the other thing. And then we're going to do the very same thing with this hinge. And it doesn't really matter what side you start with. So again, we're going to take the release paper off. Okay, and now we have that off. We're going to do the very same thing we did before, but before we do that, I really have to get rid of all these pieces of release paper. So again, we're going to secure that hinge right here in the corner. And now we have something that looks like this. So we have the Z fold with 2 flaps, and now we need to adhere it to our card. So how we're going to do that is we're going to fold the card this way so that release tape on these cards, and I see that I'm going to need to clean this up. So just let me do this right away. So if you have something like this, now is the time to take care of it, because it would be too hard to do once your card is put together. And that just means I didn't get it quite straight, but you know what? We're going to clean it up. Okay, we're good now. Okay, so we see that we're going to need to take off that release paper. These cards do involve a little bit of work, but you know what? I think they're so worth it in the end. And then I wanted to also share with you a lot of the designer paper that I used in all of my pop-up cards came from our celebration catalog, and I just wanted to kind of explain that to you. So anytime that you make a $50 purchase, I should say anytime before the end of February that you make a purchase, and for every increment of $50, you get to select some free product. So if your purchase is $50, you get to select from the $50 category. If your purchase, say, is $100, then you can choose two $50 items, or you can choose one item from the $100 category. All right, so we have the sticky side facing up. We're going to go ahead and fold the front of the card over onto these hinges, just like that. And now you see that you can see this part of the card. Now we're not through because we need something for this window part. So let's go ahead and, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. We're going to go ahead now and decorate the front. There is something I wanted to share with you, and that is, this is the oval that we cut from the inside of the card. But here's my thought. If we use that oval as it was intended, well, we're going to use it as it was intended, but if we use this solely on here, let's see, then it may be more difficult to see the sentiment. So here's what I did, is we're going to use this oval, and this oval is the pool party from the card base that we cut out, and that we use this oval, this larger oval, to get that. Then I took an oval that was just one size smaller, as you can see, and I used it to cut out a white oval. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to take this oval, I'm going to adhere it to this oval, and then we're going to be able to see our how we decorate it and see our sentiments and anything else that we do to the oval. So just quickly, I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive, and I'm going to place that on this oval. Just like that. And so now this is going to fit nicely in there, and we can decorate this. Now we're going to decorate it before we adhere it to the card. And what I wanted to decorate it with is, I went ahead and stamped this on a scrap piece of paper. So I wanted to use this, a little flower, and I wanted to use it right here on the bottom of this oval. And so I used the Memento and ink with this stamp, and this stamp comes from the Hello stamp set, and I think I showed you, I'll just quickly show you again. That Hello stamp set is in the Celebration catalog, and if you make a purchase of $100 before tax and shipping, then you not only get the stamp, but you get that designer series paper, and that designer series paper comes in 12 by 12, a size of 12 by 12, and then the nice thing is you also get the stamp set. So that's a great way to move up your inventory. So I took this little stamp that is in the stamp set because it does match the print on here, on this card, and I stamped it on some scrap paper. Now I don't really want to color in the petals because they're white on the designer series paper. Those flowers are white. But what I did see is that these little leaves are black on the designer paper. So I went ahead and colored them black, and I did that ahead of time. So we'll just go ahead and adhere that to our oval here. And let's see. I'm going to use a a glue dot. Now the glue dots are awfully sturdy, so that's a good thing. And I'm not going to use dimensionals because we already have a lot of dimension in this card already. All right, so I'm just going to place it here. And then the other thing that I wanted was a sentiment. So I took the sentiment from a stamp set that is in the Art in Bloom stamp set. And I took the sentiment that says, "Dear friend." And so this is kind of a thinking of you card. And who couldn't use one of those? We can all use that, right? It's kind of nice to know that people are thinking about you for no reason at all, just because they are. And so I'm going to test this. Okay, good. So I'm going to put that right here. Now you could definitely stamp this in Pool Party ink. I'm so sorry. You could go ahead and stamp this in the Pool Party color of ink if you wanted to. I just chose to use the Memento, but that's just up to you. Now the other thing is I kind of felt that this looks a little bit plain. So what I thought I would do, because you see on the designer paper there are these little dots on here. So I thought, well, that would be kind of cute just to put some dots all around. So here we go. I didn't practice this, so I hope that I'm not, and I got the wrong stamp, so we're not going to use that stamp. That's why you always want to practice, because you don't want to get the wrong stamp. So we're going to clean this off, put that stamp away. That's not the one we want, or I want, I should say. Maybe it would be the one you want. Okay, so this leaves little marks. I just think that this is cute, and you can put them anywhere here that you might want to, in any shape. I just think that that just adds to that oval. I hope I'm not overdoing it. I want to do one more here. Okay, so I think we're through decorating that for now. Was a little scared I might get carried away, but all right. Now we're going to put that on our card. And how we're going to do that is we're going to take some tear and tape and we're going to put it right here on the edge. We don't need to put too much here, and we definitely don't want any adhesive here where you see that Pool Party color. Okay, here we go. The other thing is we need to secure this down. So we're going to take this oval that we just decorated, turn it over. We're going to put some tear and tape on this edge here. This moves a lot, so it kind of does need to be secure. We want to make sure we don't get too close to the middle, because again, that will adhere it to the Pool Party color, and we don't want that. So let's go ahead and remove the release paper. And the release paper. Now this tool that I'm using to remove the release paper is called a Take and Pick tool. It's awesome because the tip that I'm using right now is the piercing tip, but if you twist it around and just pull out, you'll see that it also has a tool that is like a spatula, and then you can just store it and secure it in there. Now this does kind of look funny, and that is because this also comes with a putty tip, and so that tip has putty. It's kind of like well, like the Paper Mate. You can increase the putty until that refill is gone, but I don't have it on here because I lost the plastic lid that keeps that putty part clean, and I don't want it getting dirty. Now the putty tip is great for picking up your sequins or small things, and so is the piercing. tool. So now we're going to take, we have the release paper off of this tear and tape, so that's very sticky. And we have some tear and tape on the side of this without the release paper, so that's sticky too. So we're going to go ahead and fit our oval in this window and secure it. And now you have an option of decorating your card. So I like to decorate my cards, and there's always an option of what you want to use. There are these enamel dots that you can use. We also have what we call bling, and these are like rhinestones, and they're different colors. This is what I'm going to use today. And the reason I'm going to use that is because it gives it a lot of shine. So I'm not going to use those enamel dots, but you certainly can use anything that you have in your inventory that is going to dress up your card. And you can use this Take a Pick tool to get those gemstones off their paper. And then it is recommended that you add your bling, we call it bling, in odd numbers. And it's supposed to draw your eye to your design. And I'm going to put this right here in the middle of that flower. And so you can kind of see it depending on how the light is shining. And one more. And I think I want to just put that. There's a lot going on out here, so I don't know necessarily that we need it there, but I kind of did want to put something there. So maybe I'll put 3 more. One there at the top. I like to put them in a triangular pattern. And that's just to draw your eye around the card. Well, there we go. So let's see, 1, 2, and then I'm going to put this right here. All right, so we've now put the gemstones on the card, and I think it's decorated nicely. What we don't have, though, is we don't have anything in here to decorate this card. So there are many things you can do to decorate the inside of your card. You could put a piece of that designer paper that you used to cut off here. You could put that on the inside if you like. You could also use that stamp, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the one that I had practiced on. I'm just going to fussy cut that out. And I'm also going to put that right there at the back of my card. And that is just going to draw your eye to the floral part of the card. And you can see that I don't cut like right to the line. And that's number 1, you just don't need to do that. And number 2, when you get that close to the line, if wear and tear or whatever kind of erases that line, it shows up. So I just leave a little bit of a white outline on the outside of my flower. And then I'm going to put it right here. So here's my glue dot. Okay, let's see here. I think we have them on there. And then I'm just going to position it however I want to at the point. So there we go with that. And I'm going to take that stamp that we had that had all the little spots on it. Just make sure this is the right one. I would hate to stamp the wrong one. And then I'm just going to just put some right here. All right, so we've decorated this card. I hope you like it. It does not seem nearly as complicated, or it isn't as complicated perhaps as you might have imagined. And this is what our card looks like. You can write your personal message here and even in here. You could also decorate this if you wanted to. If you had another bigger strip of this designer paper, that would look very nice in there. So it's really up to you how you want to decorate it, but this is the mechanics of the card. This is what it looks like when you're looking down on it. And I'm glad to have shared this time with you. I did want to show you some other cards quickly. This is the original card that I showed you in the beginning. I just wanted to share with you that this paper comes from a free selection in the Celebration catalog. So here it is. I just did fussy cut it out. Now in the annual catalog or mini catalog, it does have a coordinating stamp set. I don't have that stamp set, but there is definitely one. It's called Rainbow of Happiness. And it has the die set which will cut out those rainbows if you wanted that. Okay, and then this paper right here is also from the Celebration catalog, and this is called the Simply Marvelous. And so on one side of the paper is a marble looking print, on the other side is like a whitewashed print. And that's what I used here. And then I just stamped it. I cut out some clouds from the same set of designer paper, and I just used it to decorate that. I really like that cloud idea because you can use it in your scrapbook as well. And also in that mini catalog, there is, with that stamp set, there is a cloud punch, which is awesome because you can use that definitely in your scrapbooks, and you can also use it for decorating your cards. So I also did with the same designer paper, but in Highland Heather, I did make this card, same flowers from that same stamp set, and I just decorated the inside. So this is a congratulations card. And then I made a birthday card. And this is the reverse side of one of the heart print of the Sweet Talk designer series paper. And you can see this is rectangular. This window is rectangular, this is oval, and this is circular. I also made a Valentine's card using the rectangular window, and this is die cut on some holographic cardstock, which has like a heart print on the inside. And then I use the die cut from the Sweet Talk Sweet to cut out these little hearts. And then when you cut them out, you have a couple of options of either vertical or horizontal to get these hearts in a row. So I did cut this down because there were 3 in succession, and the inside part is what I used right here. So there's that. I also made this Valentine's card. This is using that die set that from the Sweet Talk, and it makes a little envelope. The score lines, the die indents the score line, so it makes it easy for you to make this little envelope. And then I just cut a strip of white cardstock. I fussy cut one of those conversation hearts that says hug me, and then I just put it in there like a note. And then this is also from that designer series paper of the Sweet Heart or Sweet Talk Sweet, and so I just made that as a Valentine's card. And then here's some more ovals that I did. So this is also designer series paper from the Petal Pansy selection. So you can see that using your designer paper and using different stamps and different colors, you can create several different cards. So I really want to thank you for spending time with me today. It was kind of a longer video than normal, but I hope that it was a learning thing for you. And if you did learn something from this video, then it was a success. So thank you for visiting me, and by all means, please do go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell button, because then we can share more time together at another time. So thank you so much, and you all have a very great day. Bye now.